The Sister Wives family just got hit with another explosive revelation, and this time, Robyn Brown is at the center of a lie so calculated, so deliberate, that even Christine Brown had no idea she'd been deceived for years. During a recent Patreon live stream, Mykelti Brown patron dropped an absolute bombshell that's sending shockwaves through the entire fandom. Robyn allegedly told Christine a complete fabrication about Mykelti's clatter ring, and when the truth finally came out, it revealed just how deep the deception runs in this family. Here's what went down. Mykelti was streaming live on her Patreon with her mother Christine and her husband David, and what started as a casual conversation about family traditions quickly turned into one of the most revealing moments in Sister Wives history. The topic of clatter rings came up, those symbolic pieces of jewelry that Kody Brown gave to each of his daughters as they reached a certain age. It was supposed to be a beautiful family tradition, a symbol of love and connection, but for Mykelti, that tradition became a painful reminder of rejection and conditional love. As the conversation unfolded, Mykelti revealed something that left viewers absolutely stunned. She never actually received a Claddagh ring from her father. Instead, after years of begging and being told she had to earn it, she gave up and bought her own ring on Craigslist for around $50. She wore that ring for years, a symbol not of her father's love, but of her own determination to claim her place in the family despite being excluded from the tradition her sisters enjoyed. But here's where it gets truly shocking. Christine's reaction to this revelation proved she had no idea any of this had happened. Why? Because Robyn Brown had allegedly told Christine that Kody gave Mykelti her ring. Christine believed for years that her daughter had received this symbol of her father's love, when in reality, Mykelti had been forced to purchase it herself after enduring years of emotional manipulation. The look on Christine's face when Mykelti said she bought her own ring said everything. She'd been completely in the dark, fed a lie by Robyn that painted a picture of family unity that simply didn't exist. This revelation raises some serious questions. Why would Robyn lie about something so specific? What possible motivation could she have for telling Christine that Kody gave Mykelti the ring when he clearly didn't? Was she trying to cover up Kody's cruelty? Was she attempting to maintain the illusion of a happy, functional family? Or was there something even more calculated going on behind the scenes? Whatever the reason, one thing is crystal clear. Robyn Brown allegedly looked Christine in the eye and told her a complete fabrication, and that lie stayed buried for years. To truly understand the weight of Robyn's alleged lie, you need to hear McKelti's painful story from the beginning. This wasn't just about a piece of jewelry. This was about a young girl desperately seeking validation and love from a father who dangled affection like a carrot on a stick, always just out of reach. McKelti revealed during the stream that she had begged her father repeatedly for her Claddagh ring, watching as her sisters received theirs while she was left waiting, wondering what she'd done wrong. The Claddagh ring tradition in the Brown family was supposed to happen when the girls reached a certain age, somewhere around 9 or possibly 13 years old. It was meant to be a rite of passage, a tangible symbol that they were valued members of the family, but Mykelti never got that moment. Instead, she was told something that would haunt her for years. She had to earn it. Those 3 words encapsulate everything wrong with Kody Brown's approach to fatherhood, at least when it comes to the children who don't fall in line with his expectations. Mykelti admitted she was a bit mouthy, a bit rebellious during her teenage years. She pushed boundaries, asked questions, and didn't blindly accept everything her father said. For that crime, she was punished by being excluded from a family tradition that should have been her birthright. Kody made it abundantly clear that his love and approval were conditional, that Mykelti needed to behave better, act better, prove herself worthy before she could receive what her sisters got without question. Imagine being a teenager, sitting in Las Vegas, asking your father for the 12th time if you're going to get your Claddagh ring. Imagine being told no, or being told to wait, or worse, being told you have to earn it. That's emotional manipulation at its finest. Kody wasn't teaching his daughter a lesson about responsibility or respect. He was wielding his affection as a weapon, using it to control her behavior and punish her for not conforming to his expectations. Mykelti also mentioned asking about having a bat mitzvah, another tradition she hoped to experience. Again, she was shut down. The pattern was clear. Kody was withholding normal family experiences and milestones from his daughter as punishment for her personality, for her refusal to be the perfectly obedient child he apparently wanted. This wasn't about teaching life lessons. This was about power and control. During the stream, Mykelti reflected on how Kody's love shifted as his children grew older. She said there was a point where he just loved them unconditionally. But as they matured, his love became conditional based on how much they respected him and how willing they were to give up what they wanted for him. That's a chilling admission. It suggests that Kody's affection isn't rooted in genuine parental love, but rather in his need for admiration, obedience, and ego stroking. If you don't serve Kody's needs, you don't earn his love. And Mykelti learned that lesson the hard way. After years of begging, after countless rejections and being told she wasn't good enough, Mykelti finally reached her breaking point. She was done waiting for her father to deem her worthy of a simple piece of jewelry that her sisters had received without question. She was done playing Kody's twisted game of earning love that should have been freely given. So Mykelti took matters into her own hands and did something that speaks volumes about her resilience and determination. She went on Craigslist and found her own Claddagh ring. Picture the scene. A teenage girl, frustrated and hurt, scrolling through online listings because her father refuses to give her what he gave her sisters. She found a ring she loved for around $50. She scraped together whatever money she had, probably from babysitting or odd jobs, and she bought it. She paid for shipping herself. She waited for it to arrive, and when it did, she put it on her finger with a mixture of pride and heartbreak. This wasn't the magical moment she dreamed of. There was no father presenting it to her with love and encouragement. Instead, it was an act of defiance and self-validation. Mykelti wore that ring for years. She wore it through high school, through young adulthood, through all the moments when she should have been able to look down at her hand and see a symbol of her father's love. Instead, she saw a reminder that she'd had to fight for her own place in the family. She saw proof that she was strong enough to claim what was rightfully hers, even when her father tried to withhold it. That ring became something even more powerful than what Kody could have given her. It became a symbol of her independence and refusal to accept conditional love. The fact that Mykelti eventually took the ring off when she met Tony is significant. By that point, she'd found someone who loved her unconditionally, someone who didn't make her jump through hoops or prove her worth. Tony's love was freely given, and suddenly that Claddagh ring, with all its painful associations, didn't hold the same meaning anymore. She could let it go because she'd found something better. She'd found a partner who valued her exactly as she was. But here's what makes this story even more infuriating. While Mykelti was wearing her self-purchased ring, dealing with the emotional weight of her father's rejection every single day, Robyn was allegedly telling Christine a completely different story. Christine believed her daughter had received the ring from Kody. She believed the tradition had been honored, that Mykelti had experienced that special moment with her father. Christine had no idea that her daughter was walking around with a $50 Craigslist ring, carrying the secret pain of being deemed unworthy by her own father. Robyn's alleged lie robbed Christine of the opportunity to comfort her daughter, to acknowledge the hurt, to stand up for Mykelti in real time. That's unforgivable. The moment Christine discovered the truth during that Patreon stream was absolutely devastating to watch. You could hear the shock in her voice, the disbelief that she'd been fed a lie for years about something so deeply personal involving her own daughter. When Mykelti casually mentioned that she'd bought her own ring, Christine's immediate response was confusion. She genuinely believed that Mykelti had received her Claddagh ring from Kody because that's exactly what Robyn had told her. Christine said it plainly during the stream. "Robyn told me that Dad got you a ring." Those words hung in the air like an accusation, and Mykelti's response was just as plain. "Nope, I bought my own." The simplicity of that exchange made it even more powerful. There was no elaborate explanation needed, no lengthy defense. Just the cold, hard truth that Robyn had allegedly fabricated an entire story and Christine had believed it without question, because why would she doubt her sister-wife about something like this? The question that everyone is asking now is why? Why would Robyn lie about something so specific and so easily disproven? What possible motivation could she have had for telling Christine that Kody gave Mykelti the ring when he clearly did not? Some speculate that Robyn was trying to protect Kody's image, covering up his cruel treatment of Mykelti by painting a picture of a loving father who honored family traditions with all his children. Maybe Robyn thought if Christine knew the truth, she'd confront Kody or make a bigger issue out of it. Others believe Robyn was attempting to maintain the illusion of a happy, functional, plural family. If Christine discovered that Kody was withholding love and traditions from her daughter as punishment, it would have been another crack in the facade, another piece of evidence that this family was falling apart long before the cameras stopped rolling. Robyn has always positioned herself as the keeper of the family, the one trying to hold everything together. Perhaps she thought lying about the ring was a small price to pay to keep the peace. But there's a darker possibility that some fans are considering. What if Robyn lied because she wanted to isolate Mykelti? If Christine believed her daughter had received the ring and everything was fine, she wouldn't push back against Kody's treatment of Mykelti. She wouldn't advocate for her daughter or demand better. Robyn's alleged lie kept Christine in the dark, kept her from fully understanding the emotional abuse Mykelti was enduring. That kind of manipulation isn't just about protecting Kody, it's about control. Whatever Robyn's motivation, the impact of her alleged lie is undeniable. Christine spent years believing a false narrative about her own daughter's relationship with Kody. Mykelti spent years carrying the pain of rejection without her mother fully understanding what she was going through. And now, with the truth finally exposed, the entire Sister Wives fandom is left wondering what else Robyn has lied about. If she could fabricate something this significant, what other stories has she twisted? What other truths has she buried? This isn't the first time Robyn Brown has been accused of manipulating narratives and twisting the truth to suit her agenda. In fact, multiple family members have come forward over the past few months with allegations that paint Robyn as someone who's been orchestrating the family storyline for years, carefully controlling what people know and believe. The Claddagh ring lie fits perfectly into a disturbing pattern of behavior that's been emerging as more and more Brown family members find the courage to speak out. Just recently, Maddie Brown Brush made headlines when she posted on social media calling Robyn the biggest liar in the family. That's a bold statement coming from someone who grew up in this plural marriage, someone who witnessed decades of family dynamics firsthand. Maddie didn't elaborate extensively on what specific lies she was referring to, but the fact that she felt compelled to make such a public declaration speaks volumes. This isn't just about small fibs or misunderstandings. This is about a pattern of deception that's apparently been going on for years. Fans have been pointing to numerous instances over the show's run where Robyn's version of events didn't quite match up with what other family members remembered. There have been inconsistencies about the family's move to Flagstaff, conflicting stories about why certain wives weren't included in important decisions, and questions about financial arrangements that never seemed to add up. Every time someone questioned these discrepancies, Robyn had an explanation ready, often painting herself as the misunderstood victim trying to hold the family together. One of the most glaring examples involves the nanny situation during the pandemic. While other family members were isolating and following strict protocols that kept them apart from their own children and grandchildren, Robyn had a nanny coming to her house regularly. When questioned about this, the explanations were confusing and contradictory. Robyn claimed the nanny was essential, that she wasn't really seeing other people, that the rules were being followed. But Christine and Janelle saw it differently. They saw a double standard, one set of rules for Robyn and Kody, and another set for everyone else. Then there are the stories about the family's financial struggles. Robyn has frequently portrayed herself and her children as being in the same boat as everyone else, scraping by and making sacrifices. Yet somehow she's the one living in $1 million mansion while Christine was struggling to afford her own place. Somehow she's the one with the elaborate decorations, the designer jewelry that Kody buys her, the lifestyle that doesn't quite match the poverty narrative she's been selling. Insiders and former friends of the family have also whispered about Robyn's tendency to rewrite history in her favor. Stories get adjusted over time, motivations get reframed, and suddenly events that multiple people remember one way are being presented completely differently. It's gaslighting on a family-wide scale, and the Claddagh ring incident is just the latest piece of evidence. When you look at all these instances together, a picture emerges of someone who's been carefully constructing a false reality for years, and that reality is finally crumbling. One of the most puzzling aspects of this entire revelation is Mykelti's journey from being Robyn and Kody's most loyal defender to finally speaking her truth. For years, Mykelti was the one family member who consistently had her father's back, who defended him publicly, who gave him the benefit of the doubt even when other siblings were walking away. Fans watched in frustration as Mykelti made excuses for Kody's behavior, downplayed his failures, and maintained a relationship with him despite everything she'd witnessed and experienced. So the question everyone is asking now is why? Why did she defend him for so long? The answer might be more heartbreaking than anyone realizes. Mykelti's defense of Kody could have been rooted in that same desperate need for his approval that drove her to beg for the Claddagh ring for years. Children who grow up with conditional love often become their parents' most ardent defenders because they're still trying to earn that love, still hoping that if they're loyal enough, supportive enough, protective enough, they'll finally be deemed worthy. Mykelti might have spent years defending Kody because she was still that little girl hoping her father would see her value. There's also the possibility that Mykelti genuinely believed the narrative Robyn and Kody were spinning. If Robyn was was lying to Christine about the ring. Who knows what other stories she was telling? Who knows how the family dynamics were being explained to McKelti? She might have been fed a version of events that made Kody seem like a misunderstood father doing his best in an impossible situation. She might have believed that the other siblings who walked away were being unfair, that they didn't understand the full picture. Manipulation works best when the victim doesn't even realize they're being manipulated. But something shifted. Maybe it was Christine's decision to leave that opened Mykelti's eyes. Watching her mother finally choose herself, finally walk away from a marriage that was destroying her, could have given Mykelti permission to examine her own relationship with her father more critically. Maybe it was seeing how happy Christine became after leaving, how much lighter and freer she seemed. Sometimes it takes seeing someone else break the cycle to realize you're trapped in one yourself. Mykelti herself mentioned during the stream that her eyes have been open since reading Christine's book. That's a significant admission. Christine's memoir apparently contained truths that Mykelti either didn't know or hadn't fully processed. Reading her mother's account of the marriage, the struggles, the emotional abuse, the manipulation might have connected dots that Mykelti hadn't connected before. Suddenly, her own experiences with Kody made sense in a larger context. Suddenly, the conditional love, the withholding of the ring, the constant need to prove herself weren't isolated incidents, they were part of a pattern. Now Mykelti is done. She's done protecting her father, done making excuses, done pretending that his behavior was acceptable. The fact that she's willing to share stories like the Claddagh ring incident publicly on her Patreon shows just how far she's come. She's no longer afraid of his reaction, no longer desperate for his approval. She's found her voice and she's using it. While Mykelti shared her painful story during the Patreon stream, her husband David provided a powerful counterpoint that highlighted just how twisted Kody's parenting philosophy really is. Throughout the entire conversation, David kept circling back to one fundamental truth that seemed to genuinely baffle him. Children should never have to earn their father's love. He repeated this concept multiple times, emphasizing that kids are worthy of unconditional affection simply because they exist, simply because they're your children. The contrast between David's natural, healthy approach to fatherhood and Kody's manipulative, conditional love couldn't have been more stark. David didn't just make one comment and move on. He went on what can only be described as a passionate mantra about parenting, speaking from the heart about how much his own children mean to him. He talked about how no matter how old they get, they will always be his kids. He emphasized that he always wants to spend time with them, that his love for them isn't dependent on their behavior or their level of respect, or whether they're serving his needs. He loves them because they're his. Period. End of story. Every single one of David's comments was a direct contradiction to everything Kody Brown stands for as a father. Where Kody has famously said that his kids are adults now, and he doesn't have to be nice to them, David talked about how children remain your children forever. Where Kody has insisted that his adult children should be coming to him and serving him if they want a relationship, David emphasized that he pursues his kids, that he makes the effort, that he prioritizes spending time with them. Where Kody demands respect and obedience as prerequisites for his love, David gives love freely without conditions or requirements. But the fact that David felt compelled to speak at length about this topic suggests how deeply the Claddagh ring story affected him. As a father himself, he probably couldn't fathom telling one of his children that they had to earn a family tradition, that they had to behave a certain way before they could receive a symbol of his love. The very concept is foreign to someone who approaches parenting with empathy and genuine affection. David's reaction was the reaction of a normal, healthy parent hearing about something abnormal and damaging. Christine sat there listening to her current husband talk about unconditional love, and you have to wonder what was going through her mind. She spent decades watching Kody withhold affection from their children, watching him play favorites, watching him damage his relationships through his need for control and admiration. Now she's with someone who embodies everything Kody should have been but never was. David's words weren't just comforting for Mykelti, they were probably validating for Christine too, confirming that her decision to leave was absolutely the right one. David also threw some beautifully subtle shade at Kody throughout the stream, including comments about how art only holds value if someone wants to buy it, a clear dig at Kody's expensive and frankly terrible art collection. But his most powerful contribution wasn't shade, it was simply being himself, being a good father figure, and showing through contrast just how deficient Kody's parenting truly is. The Claddagh ring revelation wasn't the only shade thrown during Mykelti's Patreon stream. David and Christine spent a good portion of the conversation taking subtle but pointed jabs at Kody, and some of them were absolutely brilliant in their execution. One of the most savage moments came when the conversation turned to Legos and art, and what initially seemed like an innocent discussion about hobbies quickly transformed into a masterclass in passive-aggressive commentary. David and Christine revealed that they've become obsessed with building Legos together, buying elaborate sets and assembling assembling them as a bonding activity. Christine mentioned that as long as you keep the original boxes and instruction books, Legos always go up in value. They're collectible, they're discontinued over time, and people will consistently pay more and more for vintage sets. It's actually a smart observation about investment and collecting. But then David took it one step further with a comment that had Sister Wives fans absolutely cackling. He said that Legos are always going up in price, but art is only as valuable as what someone wants to buy it for. That statement hung in the air for a moment before the implications fully landed. David was talking directly about Kody's expensive art collection, the pieces that Kody has spent thousands and thousands of dollars acquiring because he thinks they're investments. Kody genuinely believes he's made smart financial decisions by buying obscure art from artists nobody has ever heard of, convincing himself that these pieces will appreciate in value over time. But here's the reality. Kody didn't buy a Monet. He didn't invest in recognized masters whose work has proven historical value. He bought random pieces from unknown artists, and the chances of those increasing in value are virtually non-existent. David's point was brutally accurate. That art is only worth what someone is willing to pay for it, and spoiler alert, nobody is going to pay what Kody paid. When Kody's kids eventually try to sell those pieces after their parents are gone, they're going to take them to an appraiser and be told they're essentially worthless. Christine and David didn't just make this point once, they circled back to it later in the conversation, driving the knife even deeper into Kody's ego. Christine reiterated that art diminishes in value while Legos do not. It was beautiful, calculated shade that anyone paying attention would immediately recognize as a direct hit on Kody's terrible financial decisions. The man has consistently made poor choices with money, from the Coyote Pass property that's gone nowhere to the designer jewelry he buys that holds no resale value beyond the weight of the gold. David also mentioned throughout the stream how much he values his relationship with his kids and how they'll always be his children, which, as we discussed earlier, was a direct contradiction to Kody's philosophy. But the art comments were particularly delicious because they attacked Kody's intelligence and his ego simultaneously. They exposed him as someone who thinks he's making savvy investments when really he's just throwing money away on things that make him feel sophisticated and important. The shade was subtle enough to maintain plausible deniability, but obvious enough that fans caught every single dig. With Mykelti now openly discussing her father's lies and manipulations, with Christine free and thriving in her new life, and with other family members like Maddie speaking out against Robyn's deceptions, the floodgates have officially opened. The question isn't whether more secrets will come to light, the question is what those secrets will reveal, and how much worse things actually were behind the scenes than viewers ever realized. If Robyn lied about something as seemingly insignificant as a Claddagh ring, what else has she fabricated over the years? Fans are already speculating wildly about what might come next. There are whispers about financial arrangements that were never fairly distributed, about Robyn receiving preferential treatment while other wives struggled to make ends meet. There are questions about why certain children were favored while others were emotionally abandoned. There are theories about how much control Robyn actually wielded over family decisions, whether she was pulling strings behind the scenes while Kody took the public blame for unpopular choices. Maddie's recent declaration that Robyn is the biggest liar in the family suggests there are multiple incidents waiting to be exposed. Maddie wouldn't make such a bold statement based on one lie about a ring. She knows things, she's witnessed things, and insiders claim she's been holding back for years out of respect for her mother and siblings, who were still trying to maintain relationships with Kody. But now that the family has essentially fractured beyond repair, there's less reason to protect the narrative Robyn has been carefully constructing. Leon Brown, formerly known as Audrey, has also been notably distant from Kody and Robyn in recent years. While Leon hasn't been as publicly vocal as some siblings, their absence speaks volumes. Sources close to the family suggest that Leon witnessed things during their childhood that deeply affected their view of their father and Robyn's influence on him. As more siblings find their voices and share their experiences, Leon might feel empowered to add their perspective to the growing chorus of truth-tellers. Then there's Gwendolyn Brown, who has built a significant following on social media and her own platforms where she discusses the family dynamics with remarkable candor. Gwendolyn has already hinted at deeper issues within the family structure, and fans believe she's holding back some of the more explosive details out of consideration for family members who aren't ready to go fully public yet. But as the momentum builds and more people speak out, Gwendolyn might decide it's time to share what she knows. The pattern is clear. One person speaks out, which gives courage to another, which emboldens another. It's a domino effect of truth-telling, and Kody and Robyn are watching their carefully constructed image crumble piece by piece. They can't control the narrative anymore because too many people know the real story. They can't silence their adult children or manipulate the situation when multiple independent voices are sharing consistent accounts of mistreatment, lies, and emotional abuse. abuse. The truth is coming out whether they like it or not, and based on what we've learned so far, the complete picture is going to be devastating. So what was Robyn's endgame with this lie? Why did she feel compelled to tell Christine that Kody had given Mykelti the Claddagh ring when he absolutely had not? The more you examine this situation, the more sinister the implications become. This wasn't a casual misunderstanding or a case of crossed wires. This was a deliberate fabrication told to Christine about her own daughter, and the motivations behind it reveal everything you need to know about how Robyn operates within this family structure. The most likely explanation is that Robyn was protecting Kody's image at all costs. She spent years positioning herself as his devoted wife, the one who understands him, the one who supports his decisions even when they're clearly harmful to the other family members. By telling Christine that Kody gave Mykelti the ring, Robyn prevented Christine from confronting Kody about his cruel treatment of their daughter. She kept the peace, maintained the facade, and ensured that Kody didn't face consequences for emotionally manipulating a child who was desperate for his approval. But there's a darker possibility that's harder to ignore. What if Robyn wanted to isolate Mykelti from Christine's support? If Christine believed everything was fine between Mykelti and Kody, she wouldn't dig deeper into their relationship. She wouldn't ask the questions that might have exposed how badly Kody was treating their daughter. She wouldn't intervene or advocate as strongly as she might have if she'd known the truth. Robyn's lie kept Christine in the dark, and Mykelti suffered for it, carrying that pain alone without her mother fully understanding what she was going through. Whatever Robyn's motivation, the damage is done and the truth is out. The sister wives' family is fractured beyond repair, with most of Kody's children either estranged from him or openly critical of how he raised them. Christine is thriving in her new life with David, building the kind of healthy, loving relationship she deserved all along. Janelle has stepped back from Kody and seems perfectly content focusing on her independence and her children. Even Mary, after years of trying to salvage some connection to the family, has finally acknowledged that her marriage to Kody is over. That leaves Robyn and Kody alone in their Flagstaff mansion, surrounded by expensive art that's losing value and a legacy of broken relationships they can't repair. The children they alienated aren't coming back. The lies they told are being exposed one by one. The narrative they tried to control is slipping further from their grasp with every new revelation. And as more family members find the courage to speak their truth, as more stories like the Claddagh ring incident come to light, Kody and Robyn's reputation will continue to deteriorate. The sister wives saga is far from over, and if the pattern holds, we're going to see even more explosive revelations in the coming months. What do you think? Was Robyn trying to protect Kody, or was there something more calculated going on? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and make sure you're subscribed because you won't believe what's coming next. The truth keeps surfacing, and this family's secrets are finally seeing the light of day.